Well, shalom everybody. Pastor Chad here in the Jerusalem studio of King of Kings. Welcome to King's Community Live. We're so honored that you spend this time with us and that your heart is already on the way, preparing itself for our worship service. We call that in Jewish tradition the Songs of Ascent. It's where the people of Israel would sing the songs and the psalms from David as they made their way up to the temple in Jerusalem, the Songs of Ascent, so that when they arrived, their heart was already ready to worship. So we trust that you're doing that with us today. So happy to have you. A lot of things going on today in the geopolitical arena, of course. We're dealing still with the United States and Iran and the escalations there. But one of the biggest stories today has been that the Houthis out of Yemen, who have put a lot of attention on Israel, attacking Israel over the last couple of years, now they're putting some of their attention and their terrorist actions on Saudi Arabia. So this will be a very interesting thing to stay tuned about so we can know how to pray together. The whole Middle East, you know, we've often talked about Iran being really the bully of the Middle East, intimidating people and then training and supplying and resourcing all the proxy terrorist groups, whether it's Hezbollah, who tried to take over Lebanon. Now, don't forget, Lebanon has now asked for Israel's help. That we're partnering together in getting Hezbollah out, but also sending Hamas to take over Gaza, parts of Judea, Samaria, West Bank as well. And now we're dealing with the Houthis, who are not only aggressive toward Israel, but as you're starting to find out, aggressive toward Saudi Arabia. It looks like we might even have an attempt of a repeat. Just like Iran tries to block the Strait of Hormuz, are the Houthis going to try to do that on their side near the Red Sea? Their side of Yemen there. So lots to pray about. So much is going on. But what a special guest we have today in the studio, Pastor Derek Chang. Pastor Derek, how are you?
So
good to have you back, my friend. You've been here before.
Sure, of course.
But since the last time you were here, we have so many updates.
Correct.
Life moves quickly here in Israel. Lots have happened.
Absolutely.
Let me just remind our viewers a lot of the ways that you are involved and you lead in the King of Kings network. Okay?
Sure.
So we'll do a quick recap. First of all, you're an advisor to our executive team, our apostolic team, and you advise us primarily in what we call dealings with Asian nations, right? So you're always advising us on the various relationships with the Asian nations. But more specifically, you are the chairman of the King of Kings Taiwan legal branch there in Taiwan. You are also an elder at one of our local congregations, a Hebrew-speaking congregation called Nachalat Yeshuatenu. And we invite everybody to come and join us on Saturdays at 4 p.m. But you're also the director here in Jerusalem of the Kingdom Inheritance Jerusalem Prayer Center. It's a prayer center that we developed together for Asian nations.
Correct.
Now, with all the war, the closed airports, the lack of travel, of course, it's not as, let's say, busy every day as it has been in the past and that we anticipate in the future. But that's nothing we can necessarily deal with. But it doesn't stop our prayer.
Of course.
We still pray all the time. So we have so many things to go through, those 3 or 4 main components of what you do for us. And where we want to end up in the next few minutes is we want to end up talking about the class you're about to teach. So don't let me forget about that.
Absolutely.
To go out with really the advertisement for that class. So let's start in Taiwan. You and I have taken trips there together. You're there quite a bit. I think your next trip is coming up in September?
Yep.
Maybe before, August? When do you leave?
Beginning of September.
Of September, okay. So you're going to be there. You're doing some conferences and speaking engagements on the Feast and Festivals of the Lord while you're there. What's going on with King of Kings Taiwan ministry?
Okay, King of Kings Taiwan basically is the supporting idea for what King of Kings has been preaching and teaching about this Hebrew root, our Messianic root. And the replacement theology really help kind of holding the Gentile church to understand this part of the richness of the heritage. And King of Kings Taiwan is helping churches in Taiwan understand better of this part of our heritage. And of course, you know, every Thursday I have online teaching. You've been helping me several times. Pastor Yohanan also helping me and to educate the Chinese people in Taiwan, especially the church members, understand better. And that's what King of Kings Taiwan serve for. And of course, in the future, if God allowed us, if the situation heading that direction, we we might establish King of King Taiwan.
Yeah, so one of the fun things is that you and I get to, you're the teacher of the class, the Chinese-speaking classes and the studies. You invite me to come on certain times, and other pastors in the King of Kings family, and we're able to bring all of that theology and that doctrine and those scriptures, the revelation to the Chinese-speaking community.
Correct.
And really, when you're touching the Asian community, when I said you're an advisor to the Asian nations, our audience may not know exactly where are those ministries that King of Kings is part of. Well, one of them is the Melchizedek Prayer House in South Korea. One of them is King of Kings India with Keith and Rebecca. We've talked about them in recent days as well. And then, of course, the King of Kings Taiwan, which has the online teachings, the conferences, and then maybe one day the King of Kings congregation in Taiwan that we're looking forward to one day. Connect City in Dayet, Philippines is also a member of King of Kings family. And so there's a lot of things happening there. I should also mention Kingdom Inheritance Orlando, because Pastor Sarah and Charlie are always in and out of China and Hong Kong and Taiwan and areas.
Long-term friends.
So, and we teach for their class as well, the Kingdom School. So a lot of things are going on in Asia that connects with King of Kings family. So thank you for being the bridge for us, the relationship, the open door. In a lot of ways, that's part of your advising role. But you're also an elder at Nachalat Yeshuatenu. How's that going? Because at Nachalat, because you and I both served there together with Yochanan, we recently made a huge change. What was the huge change?
We're going to be all Hebrew speaking, and so people, whether you can have a really just not knowing the elements, also the language. So that's what Nahalat's changed. Right,
so we focus on 3 unique elements at the Nachalat congregation for any visitor that wants to come when you're in Jerusalem. Number 1, we unapologetically connect with the Jewish roots of faith and our Jewish expression.
Correct.
We unapologetically pursue the power and presence of the Holy Spirit. So it's unusual to have both the traditional element and the Holy Spirit element, but that's really what we read about in the Brit Hadashah New Testament. So that's what we want to replicate. And then third, we want to honor the heritage and language of our people, and that included, over the years, growing into our original vision, which was to flip it into, from a mixture language, because we did both. We wanted to eventually get to a Hebrew only, and we did it. And it's been very successful, and now we have a new Hebrew only home group and a discussion group. It's so wonderful to see the progress. So thank you, Derek, for being a big part of that eldership team and leading us there. So we touched on KIJ a little bit, and King of Kings Taiwan. We looked at Nachalat Yeshuatenu as well, and your advisory role. But you've got a big class coming up. So before I get to your class, I want to remind them of the class this week. Okay, so let's do that first.
Sure.
Everybody, listen to me here. This Thursday, so today is the 26th of July. That's a few days from now, on July 30th, I'm going to be teaching a 3-hour course from the Israel Academy of Ministry, and it's entitled Healthy Jewish Expressions in Our Congregation. We're going to talk about the background of the Jewish expressions, what they mean, what comes from the Bible versus what is rabbinic in nature. What did we see Yeshua and the disciples engage in, and what things did they need to reject? We know that it's kingdom culture that it surpasses all other cultures, and yet there is still beauty in other cultures. So we need to learn how to navigate those, including the Jewish culture itself, including the Israeli culture. We don't want to be enamored with it, and we don't want to practice things if we don't understand them.
Correct.
But this class is really going to help us to break those things down in the same model that we saw Yeshua. So you can go to our all of our socials there, get our link. You can link to register. It's 30 shekels, whether you're in person or you're online. This class will be live online, so we can have interaction with everybody who might be viewing outside of Jerusalem. We've had lots of registrations already. Make sure you put it on the calendar this Thursday, July 30th, 6 to 9 p.m. Israel time, whether you're in person in Jerusalem or you're watching online. Get that link, register right away. Now, what's a good segue is I'm going to teach that class from your sanctuary. So thank you, thank you for letting us have it. I thought it was a great setup for what we're going to do. So when the class I'm teaching finishes this Thursday,
correct,
there are going to be 4 Mondays in the month of August. and you're going to be focusing on teaching the shofar. This is your expertise background, okay, for many years.
Yes.
So give us a rundown of the 4 Mondays. You're doing what, an hour and a half, 2 hours each Monday?
Yeah,
something
hour
like that.
and a half to 2 hours. Yes.
Give us a quick summary and breakdown of each of the 4 classes so people can register.
Okay, so before I dive in, I want to also share one thing about Nahala Yeshua Teinu.
Okay.
If you don't speak Hebrew, don't worry. We do have a translation.
We have translation.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least you're able to expose yourself into a Hebrew-speaking environment.
Right.
And we have a translation, so you are able to understand what they're really talking about. So don't be afraid. Come join us.
That's right. That's a good plug.
Okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
Very welcome. Yeah, shofar, as you know, is my passion for years. And in this 4 class, in the first class, we want to identify what is shofar is about. And in Israel, people knows a lot about shofar, but do they really know what's a shofar really used in the Bible? So in the first class, we want to go in general, to identify what's a shofar in the Bible. And also we will have some hands-on practice. And of course, you will get to see my collection of the shofar.
Yeah.
Okay, all different kinds of shofar.
Very extensive.
Thanks. And second class, we will start case by case study through the Bible. For instance, like Jericho. Why would God give Joshua a strategy, use a shofar, 7 priests? And head priests have thousands of Levi. How will he choose these 7 priests that circle around the Jericho?
Sure.
In the 7 states, the 7 circles is almost like 10 plus hours. How will he choose people? And why God would give this? And how Joshua react? And that's the second class we'll talk about it. In the third class, we'll talk about Gideon 300.
Okay.
Yeah, Israel was under suppression because they idol worship. And once again, God showed up, and God used a shofar to deliver Israel. And how would these 300 be selected? And why would they show up in that time? How they prepare themselves. There's something in the class. And of course, the last class we will talk about Nehemiah. He was called to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and enemies tried to slow him down or even hurt him, hunt him. And in 420, with all the option he has, he said, "Children of Israel, when you hear the sound of the shofar, relay together, our God will fight for us." We know he rebuilt the wall in a record time of 52 days.
Right.
We never know he ever blow the shofar or not. But if he ever blow, I'm sure God will show up. So with the same strategy, only one-time deal, or could we possibly implement that into what we're using today?
Okay.
And also another thing he also taught very well every year is about the Yom Teruah. God was asking us the first day of July, sound the shofar as a memorial. But to remember what? God never told us. And you give us a lot of examples teaching all these years. But we try to approach in the different angles. Because there's a sign. Hearing the sound of the shofar is a sign. And sign in the Old Testament is nothing new. Star, moon, sun, right? Or the rainbows, all is a sign. And God shows us, and it's very clear, and both parties know what's the sign for. But this very sign, we don't know. Only God knows.
Yep.
And also another very funny thing is that this is the only sign we get involved. Other signs, nothing to do with that. You see it, you knew it.
Right.
But the shofar, and very thing we get to involve is the very breath. He breathed into us, and we're using that to making the sound.
Yeah. We want to make sure, Derek, that everybody gets a chance to register for this class because, just to be clear, my class and your class are both going to be in person and have an online option.
Correct.
So we want to make sure we put it in the socials. But just in case someone wants to sign up for either class and isn't sure how to do that, guys, just go to email info@kkcj.org. You can get information on this Thursday's class for the I Am Academy, which is Healthy Jewish Expression in the Congregation, or the 4 Mondays in August for the Shofar class with Pastor Derek. Thank you, my friend, for being with us on the program again. Looking forward to being in your class, and we're going to go to the main stage right now and enjoy the rest of the worship service. We'll see you later.
Amen.